What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker on Unique Access, and today we're joined by E.D.I. Thanks for coming through, sir.
Oh man, it's a pleasure of mine.
You have your project here, The Hope Dealer, as well. So, how and why did you come up with that title?
Well, I came up with that title about 2011, and it just came out spontaneously. I was working on a song for one of our mixtapes, Illuminati 2K10 we did with DJ K Slay, and it just came out at the beginning of the song. It's the Neighborhood Hope Dealer, but I didn't really put too much into it until I started going through some personal things in my life, and I needed hope my damn self. You know what I mean? I had my youngest daughter was sick and in and out of the hospital for the better part of a year, and then I found out my mother had cancer too, lung cancer, and thankfully both of them are healthy now and they made it through, but that was a really turbulent year for me. And that's kind of when I started the project. I started doing music just to give myself some hope, you know what I mean? And not really doing it for an album per se, like, oh, I'm gonna do an album called The Hope Dealer. I was just doing music because I needed a reason to keep living, you know what I'm saying? And it was giving me a reason to live when I was doing that music. And the project reflects that. So finally, after a few years, you know, moving and dealing with that and getting everything settled, I started listening back to the songs I was working on. I was like, it might be a project hit, you know what I mean? And I should call it The Hope Dealer because it's a lot of us, especially in these turbulent times, that need hope, that need a reason to get out of the bed in the morning. And you know, if I can do a little bit to help somebody do that with music, then I've done something. I've done my job, and then the response from it has been exactly that. Like, yo, this particular song on that album, you know, I just had a kid hit me up on Instagram like, yo, my mom's died, and you know, it was a song on there called Straight Ahead that helped me get through that. You know what I mean? So that's perfect. That's what we do this for.
Right, and there's also the Hold Us Down record, which I thought was a good one from when I had heard it. So with that one, you got Planet Asia on there too, right?
No doubt.
And with that, what makes that song special to you?
Well, because I got a so-called like this generation MC on it, dope kid by the name of Trans Lee from Alabama, and he's slept on right now, but I promise you, y'all gonna be hearing a lot from this kid in the future. And then Planet Asia is kind of like from our era.
Right.
And I'm big on generations collaborating with each other. You know what I mean? Because when we was at Death Row, I seen Pac embrace Big Daddy Kane when Big Daddy Kane didn't really have a lot going on for him. Like the East Coast wasn't even fucking with Kane.
Right.
And Kane was out in LA just hustling.
This the One Nation era? Or
this is kind of before the One Nation era. This is right when All Eyes on Me came out, and it's the #1 album in the world, and California Love is the #1 record in the world.
This is 96?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is 96, and Kane was in LA, and we were just all fans of Kane, and Pop was like, man, you gotta come to the studio, I wanna do a record with you, what you need, how much you need, what you want, you know what I mean? Just showed him that respect, you know what I'm saying? So to me, as an elder, I guess now in the hip hop game, I think that needs to be done a lot more. We have a tendency to, you know, to say, fuck the old school niggas, let's just focus on the young and the new. And the rock and roll dudes don't do that. They lift they old heads up. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Rolling Stones and the Grateful Deads and Red Hot Chili Peppers can tour and still put out albums well into their 50s and 60s, because people don't just throw them away like they trash.
No, they celebrate them.
Yeah, they celebrate them.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to happen more. So that was my way of doing that in my own way, you know what I mean? Because, and even when I told Trans Lee, yo, I'm putting Planet Asia on this song, because he's a student, he was blown away.
Okay.
Like, fuck, you putting Planet Asia on there? He was excited about it, and I think we need more of that in hip hop.
Well, speaking of excitement, is that one thing, since I've known you a long time now, is every time that we've talked, especially when we talk about just rap in general or other artists, there's still that excitement there for you as far as the craft and the art of it. And how do you think, being that obviously you've had a lot of tragedy in your career and in your personal life, how do you think that you've been able to still keep that love and that drive for the artistic and the creative side of it in what you do musically?
Man, because I love this culture, I love this genre of music ever since I was a little kid. You know, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so I literally grew up at the same time hip hop was emerging.
Right.
You know, it's in my system. Just like gangbanging would be in a gangbanging dude's system out here in LA. That's all he know. Like hip hop was literally around me everywhere I went, from my mom's playing Sugar Hill Gang records to going in the street. My uncle would put up in his caddy and he'd be playing Run DMC, you know what I mean? Go to school, me and all my friends freestyling, beating on the lunch table. It's just always been in me and always been around me. And I feel like I've seen the power of hip hop too, traveling to other countries, people that can't speak English, knowing every word to a Pox song or the One Eye songs. I've seen how it transcends and brings people together from different cultures and different racial backgrounds. I've seen the power of hip hop, so I can never lose that excitement for that reason alone. You know, no matter how, you know, trashy it gets, how many, you know, people be like, yo, this rap is terrible now. I'm not one of those people that can say rap is terrible now, because I can go back and put on an E.40 record. That shit lives forever.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Or Scarface album like we was talking about. That shit lives forever. You know what I mean? And it's still good projects coming out today. You just gotta do your research and go out there and look for it and stop accepting what they giving to you.
Yeah, that's why I always tell people, man, there's so much quality rap that's released every year. It's just whether or not you're gonna find it or take the time to find it. And you know, that's one of the keys to the game, and I think that's
major key.
You know, you got to be able to like just stay hungry as a fan and as somebody that's loving the culture. If you love it, even if things aren't going well, you still got to love it. You know, so are you really down? Are you still down?
Are you still down? And let me give one piece of advice, because that's a great point you made, and I want to say this to everybody that ever sees this interview. Just because you love hip hop and you love this music and you love this culture doesn't mean you have to be an artist. You can do something else. You can be a DJ, you can get on the business side, you can be a manager. It's ways for you to still be around this culture. But one of the problems with people finding their favorite artists or good music is that it's so convoluted. It's like LA traffic, man. Yeah. Everybody wanna rap. And I understand dreams and having aspirations and goals, but it just may not be for you. Something else may be for you.
Well, when I was growing up, the reason I never tried to be a rapper, it wasn't because I was white and no one was rapping. The white guys weren't rapping at the time. It was that I didn't understand that the artists were a lot older than me. So when I was a little kid and I was listening to KRS-One and Kumo D and Dana Dane and Slick Rick and all these dudes, I was just like, man, I don't know how they can write like that. Like, that's amazing. Like, how do they tell those stories? And KRS-One with Boogie Down Productions, I was like, how are they doing that? Like, I could never write like that. But then I didn't realize, like, oh, you're like 10, 11, 12 years old.
They got life experience.
Yeah, and they're like 19, 20, and some of them even older than that at the time. So that's how, like, I developed, to your point. I was like, man, how can I be involved in this? How can I be down and not be an artist? So like for me, I decided I was able to figure out like writing was a way to get in the game, and that's why I'm here today.
And I'm about to say, and look at you now.
Yeah, man.
Sitting up here with E.D.I, man.
There it is.
You feel me? It's a beautiful thing, man. You know, just a little piece of advice. Y'all can do what y'all want to do, but I definitely feel like, you know, the cream always rises to the top anyway. And if you're not adding anything to it or pushing the culture forward, then you really just in the way, and you can help out in a lot of different ways. There's so many other ways to be involved with this culture besides being in front of the camera. You know, everybody want to be famous anyway.
Yeah, and you guys are still keeping it forward because you got a new mixtape coming up soon, right?
Yeah, we do. We have a new mixtape called Living Legends dropping at the end of the summer. You know, me and Nob now is our duo. After coming from a group that was as large as 6-7 members, it's down to us as a duo, and I really feel like musically we've gotten a lot tighter because we've had to. It's not so many different personalities and voices you got to choose from when you get an Outlaw project. So we have to find a way to still keep the listener interested and not just rely on the fact that we the Outlawz. We still want to give quality music and improve as artists. You know, he does a lot of work solo. I do work solo too, but when we come together, it's a certain energy that you just don't get when we apart. Yeah,
and I remember back when I was first spending time with you guys, like when I did a big feature on you for XXL, one of the things that I admired, appreciated, and enjoyed about going to the studio at that time and getting to know you guys was how much all of you guys work together to be great and to stand on your own. And I don't think that a lot of people understood that with you guys, like what you did artistically.
Nah, they didn't. I think a lot of it kind of got overshadowed just because everything was just so, just so grandiose. You know what I mean? The whole thing with Pac was just so huge, and Death Row, and then even the myths that the stories that came out about us kind of overshadowed the music that we were doing. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those things that you really can't do nothing about, but just continue to work hard at your craft and try to get better. And that was always me and Nob's thing in particular as far as the group, just putting out the best music that we could put out, being the best that we could possibly be, because we knew what we were representing. You know what I mean? We knew people really kind of threw a strike or two at us anyway, because it was like, we only seen y'all because of Pac, you know what I mean?
Right.
So.
We got a lot to talk about in this segment, man. So let's get into the All Eyes on Me first, because this is going to be a monumental event for not only Tupac, but for hip hop, I would say, the whole culture.
Absolutely.
With the movie. So from how, what's been your role and how did you get involved with being a part of the project?
Well, one of the producers on the movie is a guy by the name of L.T. Hutton.
Excellent producer.
Definitely hit maker producer who started at Death Row Records, and our careers kind of started at the same time, and we always had a mutual appreciation for each other's talent. Even after Pac passed, we kept in contact. He did beats for us on Outlaw projects, and we just always kept in touch. And then he made his transition to the movie industry, and Pox movie was one of the movies he wanted to get done. And to be quite honestly, he was probably the only person in a position of power that was pushing for a Pac movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it was really nobody else really trying to do it. You know what I mean? And so he came, he started getting the momentum going, and he hit me up and he was like, yo, I'm getting it going. I got somebody that's ready to do it. Everything is coming in place. Maybe about 3 years ago, we chopped it up about it. And I was like, yo, I'm on board. You know what I'm saying? I like the fact that it's actually somebody that knew Pac, that worked with Pac, that was doing it. I love the fact that he's a black man in a position of power in the movie industry, which was almost non-existent.
Rare.
Very rare, you know what I'm saying? And able to get this movie done, and it hasn't been easy either.
Yeah, I know it hasn't been easy because it's been years in the making, and there's been lots of different companies coming in and out, lots of different people being involved and not involved. So what do you think made it actually happen this time?
Well, I think in a weird kind of way, kind of same way hip hop, we help each other without necessarily helping each other.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And so Straight Outta Compton came out, phenomenal success.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Great movie. Should have received, a lot more accolades than it did, but it kind of made the momentum for the Pac movie to pick up because, Hollywood respects money. They respect dollars.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it really doesn't have much to do with color. The only color they care about is green. So they sitting up there and they saying, wow, this fucking NWA movie did good. We got this Pac movie sitting over here, just kind of
sitting on the shelf.
Just sitting on the shelf, if you can believe that.
Which is crazy.
And they're saying, well, they comparing the numbers, looking at NWA's numbers, and well, Pac, he sells millions of records worldwide, 85 million records sold. Somebody get this fucking movie done right yesterday.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what helped it out a lot. Also, Benny Boom coming aboard and, being a steady hand, commanding the ship of this movie behind the lens, definitely helped out a lot because it was a lot of different directors. I think it was maybe 3 directors came in and tried to get this movie done, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. Benny came in and it stuck, you know what I mean? And things just started to fall into place towards the middle and the end of 2015.
Okay. And then I saw on Instagram and social media, of course, that you were posting that you were on the set a lot. And what did you see on the set that's giving you faith that it's going to be a great film when it comes out?
So the first thing I saw when I got to the set of this movie was, the first thing I felt was a great vibe. Everybody there was there knowing that they were a part of something great and a part of a legacy that is great, and really wanted to pay their respects to Pac with their work. And so it was just not another vanity project for people. It wasn't just another check for people. Like, I'm just, like, everybody was there like, yo, this is for Pac. He deserves this. He deserves great quality. He deserves 100% from everybody involved. So that made me really comfortable. And then meeting the kid that's playing Pac, Demetrius Shipp Jr.
Right.
And seeing the amount of work he put in, both behind and in front of the scenes, to bring, you know, the best possible results, also made me feel good, man. You know, he did years of work before he even got under the lights and in front of a camera, you know, physically and mentally, and doing research on things that he didn't know nothing about. Right. He has a great acting coach, Angela Gibbs, that was working real close with him for years. She's Marla Gibbs' daughter, so she's been in Hollywood and a part of black royalty, Hollywood royalty for years, and knows what she's doing. So, like I said, the team that LT and company put together to get this done is A1, all the way down to the editor, Clint Eastwood's editor, you know, Oscar-winning editor, you know what I mean? Like, they spared no expense and didn't cut any corners to get this done and make sure it was, you know, and make sure it matches where Pac is at as far as an artist.
And one thing artistically with Pac that I think is kind of intriguing, like NWA, is like, as somebody that grew up part of the culture, listening to it, studying it, and then actually working in it, I knew a lot of the stories in Straight Outta Compton that were in the film. So like, for somebody that's a super Pac fan, like, what wrinkles or things do you think that they're gonna learn or appreciate about All Eyes on Me?
Well, I mean, in Pac's case, it's kind of unfortunate. He's been a little overexposed. You know what I mean? Because of his death and the big way he lived when he was living, and even how he just became bigger in death. Right. So you can go on the internet, you can Google, and you can find like millions of different stories, and some of that shit may be true, but a lot of it isn't. And I think the movie, what's great about the movie is that it sticks to the script. You know what I mean? But the only thing that you're gonna get out of this movie is a physical representation of the story. You know, it's not like you're gonna sit there and go, at least for people in our age group. Okay. People in our age group is gonna be, like, most of the stuff in the movie, you're gonna be like, oh, I knew that because I remember when that happened. Right. But for the younger generation that may not know, they're gonna get a whole bunch, and it'll definitely give them some clarity on who he was and what he was about and what was his foundation, and, you know, kind of why he did some of the things he did.
Yeah, and I think it's important too, because now that not only is the rap world evolved, but I think entertainment has evolved, and like, people, I think it's hard for people to process or understand if they weren't experiencing it, like the success that he was having in Hollywood as an actor. Like, for having leading roles almost immediately, and then working with, you know, Bellucci and all these different things. He was doing like major films that were critically and commercially acclaimed. And
right.
I think, like, it just shows the depth of his artistry and his range, not only as a person, but as an artist. So, you know, I'm excited.
You definitely get that in the movie. You definitely get all sides of him, and, you know, from the poet to the artist to the hip hop artist to the, you know, the activist. You know what I mean? You get all of that.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national
gangbang rappers.
The history of gangster rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the street. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.